eagles are coming. Why didn't they simply ride the eagles straight to Mordor to drop the ring? The answer is very brief. They would be spotted, hunted, and destroyed in just a matter of hours. But putting those sarcastic remarks aside, the truth behind this story is much deeper. Let's delve a little deeper. After all, the eagles are divine creatures, not a Middle-earth Air Force squadron that anyone can deploy at will. Flying the ring straight to the mouth of Mount Doom is actually a suicidal move, walking right into Sauron's trap. And here is the truth behind the legend of the Great Eagles, as well as the reason why J.R.R. Tolkien never intended for them to become saviors who serve everything on a silver platter. To answer this question, first we need to clearly understand what the Great Eagles actually are. Not the way they are mocked in online memes, but the way the author Tolkien himself described them. The Great Eagles are entities of supreme power and status, molded and sent forth by Manwë, Lord of the Valar and Master of the Skies. In the Silmarillion, they are described as spirits hidden in the shape of hawks, sent down by the god Manwë to keep watch over the evil god Morgoth in the First Age. The greatest among them was Thorondor, a creature who never obeyed anyone's command except Manwë's. Entering the Third Age, the eagles remained mighty but became distant. They acted according to their own free will, and there is an extremely important reason explaining why they did not intervene deeply in the war. After the First Age, when the Divine War sank the entire continent of Beleriand, the Valar learned a blood-soaked lesson. Use divine power to intervene directly would cause horrific destruction. From then on, they established a law of non-interference. The inhabitants of Middle-earth must fight for their own freedom. The eagles were sent to observe or bestow grace, absolutely not allowed to do the saving work for them. Tolkien emphasized in Letter 210, the eagles are a dangerous machine. I have used them very sparingly. In other words, using the eagles to secretly drop the ring would blatantly violate the sacred law set by the Valar. Freedom must be traded with the blood and effort of the mortal realm itself. Now, assuming the eagles agreed to bend the rules and carry the ring to Mount Doom, what would they have to face? First of all, recall the core strategy decided at the Council of Elrond: secrecy. Sauron is full of arrogance. He always firmly believed the free peoples would use the ring to raise an army, or send their greatest warriors to carry it. He never expected that two tiny hobbits would sneakily walk into Mordor. Hobbits are the symbol of stealth. In contrast, riding eagles darkening the sky would be no different from hanging a giant billboard screaming, "Hey Sauron, we are bringing the ring to destroy it." Once discovered, Sauron's flaming eye would immediately lock onto the target. The skies of Mordor at this time were mastered by the 9 Nazgûl, riding on the backs of terrifying winged beasts. They were extremely ruthless, highly sensitive to the ring, and never knew fatigue. Beyond the Nazgûl, Mordor was also protected by countless layers of defense, fortresses, and watchtowers scattered everywhere. Many people mistakenly think the eagles are immortal armored tanks, but in reality, they are creatures of flesh and blood. In the work The Hobbit, the Lord of the Eagles once refused to fly near where men lived for a very practical reason. They would shoot at us with their great yew boughs. If they still had to be wary of mortal archers, then forcing them to fly over the Black Gate, filling the sky with poisoned arrows, catapults, and tens of thousands of Sauron's orc archers would be a cruel act of suicide. But more terrible than arrows or ring wraiths, the most fatal threat lies in the ring itself. The One Ring possesses a wicked characteristic. The greater one's innate power, the easier it is for the ring to tempt them, and the more brutal the corruption. That is why Gandalf or Galadriel were both terrified and refused to touch it. The great eagles are living beings possessing immense power of the skies. Imagine a worst-case scenario. The eagles will get corrupted in mid-air. It snatches the ring, throws Frodo to the ground, and flies straight to Sauron's throne, or turns itself into a new Dark Lord in the sky. No one in the Council of Elrond dared to gamble the fate of the world on such a horrifying prospect. All of the above leads to a major question. If the eagles could not carry the ring, then why did they appear at the last minute to rescue Frodo and Sam? This was absolutely not a clumsy fix or a lazy disentanglement by the author. It is a beautifully intentional example of the concept Tolkien called a Eucatastrophe, the turn of salvation. An unexpected miracle, descending as a well-deserved reward for courage and endurance to the utmost limit. After the ring shattered, Frodo and Sam lay helpless on the slopes of the fiery Mount Doom, and only when the most desperate moment loomed did the flock of eagles appear. They came not to complete the mission for the heroes, but to save those who had sacrificed their very souls to complete it. The mission of salvation had to be completed by the bleeding feet of the smallest beings. The eagles only descended when Sauron had fallen, and the emissaries of the Valar no longer needed to hold back their power. True victory only comes from humility, extreme agony, and noble sacrifice, never from shortcuts or the abuse of overwhelming power. The eagles are not a cheat code of creation. The fact that they only spread their wings and soared down when all burdens had been lifted is exactly what makes their cry in the skies of Mordor so priceless. And that is the whole truth. Next time, if someone asks you, why didn't they just ride the eagles straight to Mordor to be quick? You can now answer confidently. They could not do that. Not only because of the physical dangers or the cruelty of the ring, but because it would trample on all the meaning and greatness that this journey represents. The eagles do not exist to cheat the journey. They spread their wings to honor sacrifice. So what about you? What do you think? Between flying straight to the destination and walking 1,000 miles, has the Council of Elrond's choice convinced you? Leave your own thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so we have more motivation to release the next lore decoding videos. Bringing today's story to a close, thank you for taking the time to watch. Goodbye and see you again on the Mythos Archive.